Paprika, welcome back to the Garifuna Experience podcast. I'm your host, José Francisco Ávila. Today, we're stepping away from the drums and dance for a moment to talk about a different kind of rhythm, the rhythm of change. As we move into the 2026 primary season, this podcast is shifting gears. We are moving from advocacy to accountability. For too long, the Garifuna community has been a hidden voice in New York City, numerically significant in the Bronx, but statistically erased. In episode 34, we mapped our Garifuna Community of Interest. Today, we put that map into action. With over 100,000 Garifuna residents concentrated in the Bronx, we are not just a minority. We are a decisive voting bloc. In 2026, we ensure that the Garifuna voice is no longer hidden. It is heard, it is counted, and it is powerful. The primary on June 23rd, 2026 is arguably more important for us than a presidential year. Why? Because this is where the resources for our neighborhoods, Crotona Park East, Morrisania, Mud Haven, and West Farm, are actually decided. We are watching four specific epicenters of the Garifuna diaspora. District 77, Highbridge, Morris Heights. Incumbent Landon Dice is seeking his first full term. He's consolidated party support, but we are watching for a potential rematch from Leonardo Coelho, who secured 41% of the vote in 2024. For a district with our density, a 41% margin means we are the tiebreaker. District 84, South Bronx, Hunts Point. This is a critical hub. Incumbent Amanda Septimo has returned to this race after suspending her congressional bid. She faces a challenge from Cortland Hankins, a dedicated tenant advocate. With a significant percentage of the population identifying as both Black and Hispanic Central American, the unified Garifuna endorsement here is not just influential, it is a requirement for victory. District 86, University Heights, Fordham, Tremont. Now let's look at the West Bronx. Incumbent Yudelka Tapia is being challenged by Sherry Olivo. District 86 is home to one of the most concentrated Garifuna populations in the city. When we talk about the power of place, we are talking about these blocks. This primary is about ensuring our neighborhood is not just a campaign stop, but a legislative priority. District 87, the crossroads of West Farms. Now let's look at Assembly District 87. This race is a fascinating case study in the power of place. We are not just talking about Parkchester and Castle Hill. We are talking about West Farms, a neighborhood that is a vital part of our Garifuna map, but often gets left out of the political conversation. Incumbent Carinas Reyes has been a powerful ally for us. She was the key architect, passing our Heritage Month resolutions in the Assembly. But she's facing a challenge from Sakur Chaudhry. On a side note, this race is a significant sign of the Bangladeshi community flexing its political power in the East Bronx. For our Garifuna's listeners, this is a lesson in civic organization. As the Bangladeshi community builds their bloc, we must ensure our voices are part of that coalition. We want to know how the representative of the West Farms in Parkchester will ensure that the Garifuna population is no longer invisible when the state draws the lines and distributes the dollars. This race is about whether our history earns us a permanent seat at the table. The Garifuna Community Candidate Scorecard. We're not just listening to campaign speeches anymore. The Garifuna Experience podcast is introducing the 2026 Garifuna Community Candidate Scorecard. This 2026 Garifuna Community Candidate Scorecard is designed as a visual and strategic accountability tool. It transforms our advocacy into a measurable standard, allowing our listeners and subscribers to see exactly where each candidate stands on the issues that define the Garifuna future. This scorecard evaluates candidates on a 5-point accountability scale. Each category is worth 20 points for a total possible score of 100. Stay tuned for the publication of the scorecards for each candidate. Remember, in the Bronx, the margin of victory is often just a few hundred votes. If our 100,000 plus residents show up, we don't just influence the election, we own the results. They received $30 million in Lucha funding. Now, let's talk about the money, because as we always say on this show, advocacy without a budget is just a conversation. I want to talk to you about Lucha, the Latino United Change Initiative. But before I do, let me tell you about the New York State Assembly Senate Puerto Rican and Hispanic Task Force. This body is the primary legislative engine for the policies and funding that impact the Bronx neighborhoods I am profiling. It operates with a specific focus on the unique challenges facing the Latino diaspora, including language access, immigration, and health disparities. The task force is more than just a committee. It is a policy vehicle that moves the needle on the state resources. Among its key functions and impact is budgetary advocacy. They use their collective voting power to ensure that Latino isn't just a label, but a funded line item in Albany. In the latest state budget, Assembly members Amanda Septimo and Carines Reyes, alongside Puerto Rican Hispanic Task Force, secured a historic $30 million for this program. Now, why does this matter to a Garifuna family in Highbridge, West Farms, or Parkchester? Because Lucha isn't for giant corporations. It's a $30 million investment designed to go directly to community-based organizations, the boots on the ground that provide literacy programs, youth services, and workforce training. But here's where accountability comes in. We know that often when funds are labeled Latino, our specific Afro-Indigenous Garifuna organizations can get overlooked. As part of our 2026 candidate scorecard, we're going to ask every representative, how are you ensuring that Garifuna-led nonprofits are getting a seat at the table for these Lucha grants? What are you doing to make the application process accessible for our smaller community-rooted organizations? When we see $30 million delivered to the Bronx, we celebrate. But then we follow the dollar. We want to see those Lucha funds turning into Garifuna youth programs on Burnside Avenue, West Farms, and senior services in Mud Haven. The New York State Senate Assembly, Senate Puerto Rican and Hispanic Task Force is the gatekeeper. We have reached out to the task force leadership asking them to adopt the Garifuna agenda as part of their official statewide platform. Navigating the ballot, the Garifuna Guide. New Yorkers must register to vote by certain deadlines to be eligible to vote in primary and general elections. You can register to vote online, in person, or by mail. Find the links to the Board of Elections in New York City and the New York Board of Elections on our show notes. The deadline to register to vote for the June 23, 2026 primary election is June 13, 2020. Check the show notes. As we move closer to the June 23, 2026 primary election, the Garifuna Experience podcast serves as the primary media gateway for the Garifuna diaspora, leveraging our audience and Garifuna Complete Count Committee partnership to drive community visibility, political accountability, and a complete count in the years ahead. In 2026, we ensure that the Garifuna voice is no longer hidden, it is heard, it is counted, and it is powerful. Mark your calendars. April 9, 2026, at the New York City Hall for the Garifuna Heritage Celebration. June 13, the deadline to register to vote. June 23rd, primary election day. Your homework? Check your voter registration. Share this episode with friends and family. Let's mobilize the invisible giant of the Garifuna diaspora in New York City into a recognized political force. That wraps up another illuminating episode of the Garifuna Experience podcast. Thank you for listening. Remember, the future of the Garifuna people is in our hands. Until next time, stay united, stay proud, Sungube Lida Abba. Find new episodes of the Garifuna Experience podcast every Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, or wherever you find your favorite shows. Please rate and review. It helps our history reach the world.